and did not ask for the death of Al-Hussein. As a matter of fact, he remorse and he regret that for what happened. And when the family of Al-Hussein, came to Syria, he received them well. And the wives of Banu Umayyah, they were mourning over the death of Al-Hussein. But there are people who are trying to create negative image. Yazid ibn Muawiyah, the Prophet ﷺ said, the first army that will invade أول جيش يغزو القسطنطينية مغفورا له, the first army that will invade Constantinople, their sins are forgiven. And guess who was the commander? Yazid ibn Muawiyah. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, the first army that will invade Constantinople, their sins are forgiven, and Yazid was the commander. And yet, you find many Sunni Muslims cursing him, believing the fabricated stories fabricated by those who curse the companions of the Prophet ﷺ. Do you understand? Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiyyah, the brother of Al-Hussein, he said, I visited Yazid and I found him a pious person, righteous man. This is what I found. And this is the testimony of Al-Hussein's brother, Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiyyah. Also, so here the Prophet ﷺ said, the best generation, my generation, then those to follow them, then those to follow them. The three generations, Sahaba, Tabi'een, Tabi'it Tabi'een. Then he said a generation will come when they will give false testimony, when they will witness before anyone asks them. Believe me, brothers and sisters, in some Muslim countries, if the Qadi, the judge, asks you to bring a witness, you'll find them down waiting for you. You go down outside the court and they will say, do you want a witness? Yes, give us this much of money. Alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So in this hadith, which we were explaining before, the Prophet ﷺ has prophesied many things will happen, that a generation will come, they will testify, they will not keep their promises, you cannot trust them, they do not fulfill their nadr, etc. And all these things, subhanallah, we can see now in our time. And you know what? When you read a prophecy, you know what the meaning of prophecy? Prophecy is something foretold and then you see it fulfilled. This actually increases your iman, because that tells you that Muhammad ﷺ indeed is the Prophet of Allah. He already told us that this is going to happen, and you see it's happening. You know what I mean? You see it is happening. So this should increase your iman. This should not weaken your iman and you feel frustrated. So that it should motivate you to stay on the path, and you should motivate you to call the people to the deen, call the people to Kitab and Sunnah, etc. Also, Imam Muslim reported and Bukhari from Ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu, is that the Prophet ﷺ said, خَيْرُ النَّاسِ قَرْنِي ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُمْ ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُمْ ثُمَّ يَجِيءُ قَوْمٌ تَسْبِقُ شَهَادَةُ أَحَدِهِمْ يَمِينَهُ وَيَمِينُهُ شَهَادَتُهُ. The best of mankind is my generation. Then those who come immediately after them, then those who come after them, thereafter will come a people whose witnesses will go ahead of their oaths, and oaths will go ahead of their witnesses. They have no taqwa, they have no fear in their hearts. They are ready to bear witness, to bear witness. They are ready to testify to something even they did not witness. Because there is no fear in their hearts. Remember what we said yesterday. When the Prophet ﷺ asked the Sahaba, 50 of the Sahaba, to bear witness and to swear by Allah, they refused. Why? Out of fear. They said, how can we testify or bear witness for something we did not witness? Do you understand? So, once the person has no fear in his heart, he will do anything. As the hadith, إِلَّمْ تَسْتَحِي فَاصْنَعْ مَا شِئْتَ. If you don't feel shy, do whatever. Don't feel shame of yourself, do whatever you like. Because you have no akhlaq, you have no taqwa, you have no fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What actually will stop you and prevent you from sinning is the fear of Allah. If you fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you only think of His reward and His pleasure, then if you are only concerned about the dunya and to be noticed and to be famous in the dunya and the people to praise you, etc., that's why you will do what only pleases the people. But if you are worried about your akhirah, you should only think of what pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Chapter number 63. Covenant is called ahd, the ahd, the promise. Allah said, وَأَوْفُوا بِعَهْدِ اللَّهِ إِذَا عَاهَدتُّمْ وَلَا تَنْقُضُوا الْأَيْمَانَ بَعْدَ تَوْكِيدِهَا وَقَدْ جَعَلْتُمُ اللَّهَ عَلَيْكُمْ كَفِيلًا إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَعْلَمُ مَا تَفْعَلُونَ. And fulfill the covenant of Allah, the bay'ah, the pledge for Islam. When you have covenanted, and break not the oaths after you have confirmed them, and indeed you have appointed Allah your surety. Verily, Allah knows what you do. So, Allah is saying, وَأَوْفُوا بِعَهْدِ اللَّهِ. If you give an oath, if you give a promise or covenant, then maintain it. Maintain it. Don't break it. For instance, if we sign a treaty with the enemies, we keep it, we maintain it. The Muslims, they had a treaty with the non-Muslims. And it is about to expire. This is during the reign of Muawiyah. So there is a date that this peace treaty will expire. So the Khalifa wanted to advance the troops to be at the borders. So by the time the treaty ends, then it is easy for him to launch the attack. So he wants to buy time. So while the peace treaty is valid, he is advancing his troops. But one of the companions told him, no, you cannot. You cannot do this unless you announce and declare that the peace treaty is over. So the enemy will take his preparation, will be ready. See the ethics in Islam, even about war. Where can you find such ethics anywhere else? You tell your enemy, get ready. We have no peace anymore. This is the deen of Islam. وَلَا تَنْقُضُوا الْأَيْمَانِ. Don't break your covenant. Don't break it. You signed, that's it. When the Prophet ﷺ, he signed the covenant with the mushriks of Hudaybiyah, the peace treaty. And Abu Basir came. What the treaty says, the clauses of the treaty, if a Muslim, if a person from among the mushriks became a Muslim and he goes to Medina, Muhammad should bring him back to the kuffar. It is unfair, isn't it? He's a Muslim, we hand him over again to them. So Abu Basir came. The mushriks came. Muhammad, we signed a treaty with you. You have to hand him over. The Prophet ﷺ said, I keep my word. Abu Basir, go back. Go back. And they took Abu Basir with them. Are you following? In the way, Abu Basir